You know, I can't quite understand whether it's always you controlling all evil entities, or whether it's also the evil entities controlling you in certain times. It's difficult to decide this, because any structure, any society based on evil elements is inevitably rather anarchic. I've noticed that, you see, as you have no immunitary defences at all, that you escape from tiny little viruses, and you allow them to dominate your lives. There was an episode in China about 10 years ago where they were all wearing face masks because of a tiny little virus. This means that that tiny little virus managed to change the aspect of China. That's incredible. I mean, people with dignity don't allow that. They use the most brilliant immunitary defences which they have inside them. And the less you use your immunitary defences, of course, the less they work. I mean, just to consider it in a very superficial way, if you people were to continue for another 100 years, you would have to live in spacesuits, because you would have no immunitary defences whatsoever. But I don't actually believe that viruses attack you unless they, most of the time, they choose not to attack you. You know. They only attack you as a kind of game, and you play this kind of game with them. It's all in the plot, you know. It's like your society where you have these terrorist attacks and these wars and massacres. It's all part of your game plot. So an attack of the Chinese flu is just part of the game plot, and probably the Black Death, which is called Hymenian by the Catatonic people, was just an episode of the game, because it disappeared. It hasn't disappeared from the Catatonics houses. They're the most hygienic people imaginable, but it hasn't disappeared from them. I mean, they keep everything immaculately clean, but so it has nothing to do with hygiene. The attitude of the catatonics is to keep every single virus inside them. I think I've explained this. The viruses have to be, if they are not inside someone, if there is a virus lacking, it has to be injected in a hospital with 40 syringes, because otherwise that virus isn't too intelligent, it won't get into that person. Because it doesn't want to be inside everyone, because it doesn't have any power if it's inside everyone. Because those people can beat it altogether. It wants to be inside about 1,000th of the population at the most. Then it can do something, or even less, 1,000,000th of the population. Then it can do something, you see. If it's been actually effectively beaten up and tortured by zillions of people on millions of different planets at the same time, then that virus suffers in its unconscious, and of course the gods make it suffer in its conscious as well. They make it howl and scream in agony. So what I wanted to to understand if you people actually realize that fundamental fact in looking in a superficial way at things, that if you continued like you do, you won't arrive at the year 2100 without having to wear spacesuits, because you are gradually losing your military defenses. You have to learn to fight against all diseases by yourself. And of course it's a moral obligation to fight against diseases, not to allow the diseases to control your lives at all in any way. I mean, diseases shouldn't be causing you to be off sick for weeks, no. You should you shouldn't have been in hospital, at home on sick leave because of 39 degrees fever. That's nothing, 39 degrees. It's not serious until it's 42 degrees fever. That's a serious fever. 42 degrees and up. So you people should really consider this. This is looking from a very superficial aspect, you know. I can look from different levels, you know. If it's a very superficial aspect, because on a deeper aspect, I think that you are deliberately playing with these diseases. And this disgusts me, of course. And you don't use the most marvelous thing which you have, that is your immunity defenses. I mean, they have to be trained, not weakened gradually, you know. And I'm talking in a moment when I'm a bit under the weather, because I'm rather sort of attacked by some virus or something, or combination of viruses, or also maybe cancer as well is attacking me very strongly. I mean, most people are attacked by cancer about 20,000 times a day, and they simply eliminate those cells immediately they appear. But you people can have cancer that starts off as a tiny little cell, and it gradually gets bigger and bigger over about 3 years until you notice it, and then you say, oh gosh, I've got another 9 months to live. That's incredible. A catatonic person, if he loses control of one of the cancer cells developing in his body, he can't manage to get rid of it. He needs urgently to be taken to hospital. He needs urgent, heavy radioactive bombing, you know, radio bombing. It has to be very heavy, the treatment. It has to be enough to kill the cancer, and that means it will almost kill him. But of course you must remember that you are always stronger than the cancer if you have any dignity in you. You are stronger than the cancer, so you will survive that radioactive treatment, but the cancer will not. You will arrive at the hospital after being treated in the ambulance almost dead, but the cancer will be totally dead. You will still be just alive. And I wanted to say these things here in this brief video, because I can't quite understand the situation. Why you allow viruses to dominate your lives. I mean, why do you actually allow Hilva, which you call, commonly you just say AIDS. Right, well that's, of course, AIDS is the manifestation of the disease. Otherwise you call it HIV. Right, why do you allow HIV, as you call it, to cause such havoc in your lives? I mean, people actually put condoms on. I mean, that's disgusting. I mean, why do you allow to ruin your lives like that? I mean, there's nothing so disgusting as putting a condom on. I mean, it really is sick. I mean, it's sick behavior. It's evil, perverted, weak, cowardly behavior, putting a condom on. I mean, you should be able to defend yourself against these diseases. And Hilva, which is the real name for that disease, actually only attacks normally during sexual intercourse. I mean, it only transmits normally, according to you people, in your society during sexual intercourse. Now, it can transmit in any way, get inside anybody's body in any way. We know that. In fact, we catatonic people know that you can get inside any person's body in any way, but it just prefers to actually attack. There's one thing being inside your body, and there's another thing is actually attacking. It actually attacks the catatonics during their sexual orgies, but they actually hold their sexual orgies on purpose as a challenge, and there's the priest there to supervise it, because Hilva is a major enemy of nature, and Hilva is challenged by having exactly sexual orgies, because it's not acceptable to allow your lives to be ruined, because one of the nicest things that God gave to human beings was sexual pleasure, and it's not in the game that some virus comes along and ruins your sexual pleasure. So people don't allow that to happen. They just need 4 ambulances outside the place while it's going on, while this orgy is going on. And on the 400 people present, 400 will suddenly be attacked by Hilva, and they will be taken with urgency to the hospital and treated. That's all, because they will be the poor people who can't resist, because if it does a massive blast, a really massive blast, Hilva can destroy your immunity system in 3 or 4 minutes. Then afterwards the disease cancer takes over, because it has nothing to stop it any longer. You have no defenses against cancer once you have no immunity system. Now, I just wanted to talk about something else, about catatonic sports. In your society you don't have the sport of ladder climbing. Well, in the Catatonic Society they have the sport of ladder climbing, where the ladders have their children start at an early age with the 300-foot ladders, and progress to the 3,000-foot ladders. And these 3,000-foot ladders are kept in a huge kind of tube-like chamber in the underneath the school. And the professionals arrive at using the 7,200-foot ladder. The championships of ladder climbing are done on those ladders there, the 7,200-foot ladders. Now, the ladders have uneven rungs. They get more and more uneven the more you get near the top. Now, of course, it's just as difficult coming down a ladder, or more difficult, as it is going up. In fact, most of the falls happen while going down. And it's quite terrifying falling. And you have to call out 999, 999, 999 while you're falling. When you fall into the big air cushion that there is at the bottom, and you get up, people usually don't suffer any injuries when they fall into the air cushion. When you get up, then you shout 666 just once. 666 is the number which means danger over. In fact, people, when they call the fire brigade, for example, something that's called fire in their house, they immediately go and digit the numbers 999 on their phone, on their home phone, and the ambulance will immediately start to arrive. Now, they then try and put the fire out themselves. If they manage, then they do 666 on the phone, and the ambulance receives this code and stops on its way and turns back, so they don't waste the firefighters' time. And then there's another sport called running on the cord. Now, running on the cord isn't like your tightrope walking at all. You don't walk very slowly with a pole to balance you, no. You don't have any pole to balance you at all. You run fast along the cord, and there are two cords 6 feet apart. That's because the competitors have to be able to overtake one another. So you have to be able to leap from one cord to the other to overtake the other competitor, you see. And the race is 40 miles long always, over mountains. Now, it's not dangerous at all, because there's actually a safety net underneath the cords. But it's highly difficult. It requires the most elevated concentration, mental and psychic concentration, and the most honed reflexes, and very good sense of balance. Everything has to be, because you always have to put your foot right, and you're running as fast as possible, and it's 40 miles. You know, because serious running events, if they're not on the cord, then they're over 100 miles in the Catatonic Society. They'd be across very rough terrain of over 100 miles. Catatonic sport is very difficult, because sport is attained to be a very important thing. And there could be other sports I could tell you about, but there's no time here. Anyway, that was just a quick early morning ramble.